Inflation does play a factor at this point in the season.
That costs Gabriel Alves, Sunbelt first teamer, who had the assist on their goal against Elon and one of their key players in the back end. 51 career starts, not able to play today. Had his 8th yellow card in that Virginia match, and NCAA rules, if you've reached the NCAA tournament and accumulated 8 yellows over the course of the season, you're suspended for a game. Rarely comes up, but did in the case of Alves. Bell intercepted by Patrick McDonald, who will play it all the way back to JT Harms in net today for the Hoosiers. Harms' 7th consecutive start in a D1 game for Indiana. Back and forth with much of the season for Brian Bratt, but Todd Yeagley believes he's found his man in net. He didn't have to make a save in the Hoosiers opener against the Billikens last Sunday.
It feels like neither goalkeeper really this season hasn't had to make too many saves for Indiana this year. It just shows you how good their backline is, and really the one opportunity opponents get, one or two, they take advantage of, which can be so frustrating for Indiana.
Good pass for Bell, looking wide to Jean, but there is JT Harms to handle it. Imagine today at some point, I think both goalkeepers are going to have to come up with saves. There's too much offensive talent on both sides of the ball.
Their hands are anything like the ones ours are right here, it's not going to be easy to try and catch a ball. We know Harms likes to punch a lot of the balls away.
Of course, Indiana fans will remember, though not want to be reminded, it was Roman Celentano, who was one of the best goalkeepers in IU history, but will be remembered for a ball he could not corral. A funky ball bounced off his hands and eventually fell to a Thundering Herd player for the game-winning goal, the golden goal, in that 2020 National Championship in North Carolina a year and a half ago. Here's Endley with some space for Indiana. Endley working on IU Mash into the box, but comfortably for Semla.
That all kind of came off of a wayward throw from the Thundering Herd. We mentioned the speed that Todd Yeagley talked about. You have Sarver in the middle who's got that, and then, of course, Endley on the outside. It's a big reason why he's into the starting lineup in favor of Mahalik.
Good takeaway by Mayer. Wagner wide to Sesak. The green-booted Sesak, and an excellent diving tackle. That was, get a number on that for the Thundering Herd. All the wetness. But a good clearance. That was IU Mash, the Parisian. Does force a corner, though, for Indiana. Patrick McDonald, the North Carolina native, to take it. Short to the freshman Wagner. Here's the dangerous Wittenbrink. McDonald into the box. And it will be an Indiana corner on the far side.
Good second ball from McDonald after the first one. Not quite what he wanted, and that's a good clearance out by Marshall. They had to defend a lot of set pieces last week. And a couple of times, kind of their second opportunities, there was a lot of space in the box, and Virginia, looking back, probably should have told themselves they should have added at least one or two in that first half off of those set pieces.
Wittenbrink, the short corner, was looking for Mayer, headed away. Deflects off a couple players. Endley can't corral. Balls again to Endley, and wide out to Wittenbrink. There's a Thundering Herd player down. Gets up Gimpy. That's Yosef who went down. He's briefly back up. Nearly fell to Sarver and just cleared away. Yosef a little bit slow back down the pitch. He is the captain and the leader for this Thundering Herd squad. Audrey mentioned players on both sides that have played in that 2020 National Championship match a year and a half ago. Jamil Roberts had the golden goal for Marshall in the 98th minute to give the Thundering Herd their first NCAA tournament championship and just their third ever in Marshall school history in any sports. Late foul called on Endley. This has been a spirited affair so far. Both fan bases making their name known early. Seydoux setting it long, a little too long. It falls for the Thundering Herd into the box, and it was Sesak getting ahead on it. It will stay Thundering Herd ball.
Feels like Indiana has to be perfect within their own penalty box, knowing that there's so many of these Marshall players that have that individual technique, considering they're international. It can be so dangerous in the box. It feels like any one of these players can kind of had a moment out of nowhere and create a wonder strike. We've seen that earlier this season. Indiana's been prone to giving up goals where you kind of just have to tip your cap. Of course, with every goal, there's one or two things you can tweak here and there. Of course, there's Todd Yeagley right there, looks back and film every week. But they're, if you think of the Clemson match, the first one, all 3 goals were well worked. And beginning of the season, Indiana gave up some really well worked goals that would have been so much better all around, especially at the back as the season has winded down.
Todd Yeagley trying to get the Hoosiers back to another quarterfinal for the first time since 2020. We're eliminated the round of 16 last year. Wittenbrink into the box. And it's cleared away. Seydu got a boot on it, but another corner for the Hoosiers. This is already Indiana's 5th corner kick. Set piece galore for the Hoosiers. Bring quickly to McDonald. McDonald down in a heap, and there's no call.
I think Wittenbrink wanted that one back. I think that's why he played it short with the expectation that he was going to get it back. Probably thought that McDonald was going to roll it behind him.
Callan Radisoff, our head referee today, keeps the whistle by his side. There's one flaw in Todd Yeagley's time as an Indiana coach. He has struggled a little bit more in the round of 16 than any other round in the NCAA tournament. He's just 4-6 in the round of 16. That is going to be another corner for Indiana. Endley plays it off a Thundering Herd defender, make it the 5th corner for the Hoosiers.
It's funny that the Sweet 16 is the only round where Indiana has a losing record as a program. We saw it last year. They lost to Washington 3-2 on a golden goal. Indiana, the last 3 times in the NCAA tournament, they've been eliminated that way. Of course, this year that's not going to happen.
Wittenbrink in. Seydu got a head on it. Yeah, Hoosiers relieved that there's no golden goal this year in the NCAA tournament. Todd Yeagley talked about that in a presser the other week. He's happy with the rule change. Still nothing to scoff about. Yeagley's made 4 NCAA quarterfinals in his 12 years so far as a head coach at IU, into his 13th season this year. And all 4 of those quarterfinals, they went on to win to go to the College Cup. Trying to do the same again this year. Either team's going to have to go on the road, though, after this. Nice play by the Hoosiers and a throw-in for the Thundering Herd. Damp Sunday night in Bloomington. A spot in the NCAA quarterfinals on the line in the 2020 National Championship rematch. Marshall just trying to find some possession. Back to Colin Mosianis. Seydu. 11 different countries represented on this Thundering Herd squad, and it's funny talking to Coach Grassi before the match, Austin. It's been a lot of fun for Marshall being together as a team and the World Cup going on. A lot of these guys have a horse in the race. This is a good ball, left side. Yosef to Mosianis. Mooney last-ditch defending into the box and cleared away by Mayer. And Mosianis is down in pain.
Arms kind of tangled up.
Ooh, that's a hard fall for Colin Mosianis, 6-year grad defender, one of their most experienced players. Not someone you want hurt. He's still lying down on the pitch. Marshall trainers are finally over. You can see an animated Milo Yosef. He wants certainly a foul called, pleading his case to Callan Radisoff. Matthew Bell wants a word in too. Let's take another look. Does Marshall, do the players have a case here of a foul on Mooney?
I think both players kind of had their arms tangled. I don't see enough of a shove from Mooney with his kind of extending his arm there to have it be a penalty. I mean, we've seen the referee hasn't really called too many fouls, so I doubt in that situation he'd blow his whistle and point to the spot.
Yeah, just one foul. All right, Austin, called so far in this match by Radisoff. Either way, Mosianis fell really hard on his right shoulder. And this is not a good sight to still see him on the pitch for an already depleted back line for the Thundering Herd. Alves out of this match for Marshall with the yellow card accumulation. They might have to look further on the bench. The 6-year graduate defender is not available to continue. You're just hoping for his health right now. As you can see the Marshall bench looking on in concern.
Did see this in last week. There were plenty of lengthy stoppages in the Marshall UVA match last week. It kicked off an hour after the Indiana SLU match, and by the time the Indiana match was done, that match was still in the first half. And when we had the press conference afterwards with Todd Yeagley, we still didn't know who the winner would be. And by the time we were done, we realized Marshall equalized. So we had the feeling that it was going to be Indiana and UVA. The seats were going to hold up, but of course the Thundering Herd with that late comeback and that really nice one on penalties, in which their goalkeeper
How about that?
he scored the first penalty. He goes up, scores it, and then saves the next one, and that ended up being the difference, which was quite interesting. I was watching. I was like, I had to look twice and make sure that was actually the goalkeeper. He took a confident penalty too, left no doubt, kind of buried it. Good to see him up though.
We'll see Eunice, back up on his feet, slowly walking off the pitch. We'll see if he can continue favoring that left arm. The vital cogs on this back line for the Thundering Herd leads them in minutes on this season. Over 1,500 minutes played. The 6-year grad defender spent all 6 seasons in his home state school, Marshall. Well, early break for both of these teams. 15 minutes in, Indiana's had the lion's share of possession. Just one shot to show for, but the Hoosiers do have 5 corners. No shots yet for the Thundering Herd. Endeli quickly takes it away. Ayumash fighting. Wagoner through a parade, and last off Gumbali. It will be Marshall throwing. It's a tough stoppage for both sides, especially on a cold night like this, in the flow of the game, and then it's interrupted. Well, the good news is Mosi Eunice is just like that, back out on the pitch. That's a good sign for the Thundering Herd.
He's kind of got that left. Oh, that's not going to help. I was about to say, right before that, he had that left arm of his kind of tucked in as if it was in a sling.
And there is the yellow card for Endeli. Luckily, I think he might have fallen on his other shoulder. Oh. He fell again on that left shoulder, and the good news is he appears to be okay. Endeli into the book with the first yellow card of this match. Marshall will play it wide. Yosef. Thundering Herd averaging over 2 goals a game on the season. That was second in the Sun Belt, only to Kentucky. I've been winning with their defense, though, of late. Marshall just 2 goals in their last all 3 postseason games they played this year, including that opening Sun Belt tournament loss to James Madison. Right side, Bell deflects. That was Yosef, looking for Bell. Mooney clears it, and wow, McDonald, or Sarver, was all alone. Just couldn't run it down. Mooney will run it down. Approaching the halfway point of this first half. No score between Marshall and Indiana. Spot in the NCAA tournament quarterfinals on the line. It has not been, so far, a very kind tournament for seeded teams, Austin. Seen 2 of the top 4 teams already fall. Washington last weekend. And, of course, number 4 to Virginia, today's Thundering Herd. Endeli with some fancy footwork. Mosi Eunice clears it away.
It's funny that seeded teams last week, all at home against unseeded teams, went just 9-7, something you don't usually see. And Todd Daly talked about this Marshall team, how they still have an RPI of 8. They came in unseeded. Of course, new into the Sun Belt this season, performed pretty well, finished second, had that kind of upset in the first round at home. They've only conceded multiple goals this season just once, a 2-1 loss to Old Dominion this season. And they've been pretty good. And Ty Dagley mentioned this could be a seeded team very easily. They have some pretty good wins, but a couple losses here and there kind of dropped them. But he is not overlooking this team by any margins.
Sarver looking for some space. Back out to Wagner. Marshall has some really good results on the season. The 1-1 draw to Kentucky in Lexington and a win over Pitt. And then, of course, that win in penalty kicks over Virginia. So at the time, all of those teams were in the top 10, and all of those teams made the NCAA tournament.
And right now, Kentucky and Pitt are playing.
They're scoreless at the half in Lexington. Already have 2 unseeded teams, though, that have made the Final 8. Portland Pilots and Vermont as well. Bell was looking for some space, but Mooney handles it with ease. Have Creighton as well, actually, as an unseeded team also in. So 3 unseeded teams so far into the Final 8. Marshall tried to make it a 4th.
They did so in 2020 when they won as an unseeded team. They began their tournament by beating number 1 Clemson and steamrolled everyone else from there, including Indiana at the very end.
Joseph takes it away. Marshall's got some space. Long range wide for the Thundering Herd. And it will be an Indiana goal kick. Ambitious effort. Oh, it deflected action. Did it? Thought it deflected. No. They're going to rule it a goal kick. It was João Sosa, the senior midfielder, the long-range attempt. That'll be Indiana ball. Right in front of the Crimson Army, the Indiana student section out for the final time this season. Both these teams guaranteed to hit the road next weekend, no matter who wins, either to Palo Alto to face Stanford, who's ranked 5th, or to head to North Carolina and take on UNC Greensboro. Ball too far for Sarver. And Semla will handle it with ease. Well, we're halfway through this first half, Austin. What have you seen so far here? Only 1 shot so far for either side.
Oh, and let's not forget that I think the fact that neither of these teams have played in a game in a week.
Oh, here's Sesok with a good spot. He's got Sarver to his left. Sesok into the box, and Semla is there. Maybe the best chance of the match for Indiana. Sesok, who had an excellent season for Indiana. 7 assists, second on the team. Good look there. Collision in the midfield off the goal kick. And the foul will go on the Thundering Herd and Sosa.
Good job there from Semla to come off his line and make sure to really hold on to it. Last week against UVA, about 1 or 2 times he had those opportunities and nearly bobbled it. Luckily, his own player was right there to clear it away, or else it could have been another goal for UVA. We got to catch those.
Wittenbrink, I don't know what he was doing there. Oh, he's upset. Miscommunication with some of the other Hoosiers, and essentially just played to Semla. Now here's Marshall the other way. Bell on the left side, the freshman sensation for the Thundering Herd. Holmes will play it to the right side. Sosa. Marshall looking for some space. It falls, deflects. Down to Mosiunas. Mosiunas into the box. Headed away, and McDonald gets a boot on it. It will be a Marshall throw-in. Sosa will get credit for the shot, the first shot of the match for the Thundering Herd. Well, Milo Yosef had the ball on his feet at the edge of the box. That's a dangerous sight if you're an Indiana fan.
That all came off of an Indiana set piece, where Wittenbrink and Gumbali just weren't on the same page. And then feels like everyone just threw their hands up in the air, and then Marshall nearly hit him on the counter.
Two shots for Indiana, one for Marshall. Scoreless. Nearing a half hour gone here in Bloomington. Long ball looking for Sosa. Sesok, just got a head on it. For BB, actually. And it falls to JT Harms. It's back line for Indiana. Hard to find a back line more experienced in the country. Everyone is a senior. Everyone has started the last 3 years for Indiana. by Daniel Mooney, back-to-back Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. Feels like Indiana's defense has gotten better over the course of the season after a slow start to the year. IU 5 shutouts on the year, including last time out in the second round against St. Louis. Oh, pretty play to Endely, but too far for Sarver. And Endely frustrated. Falls to Wittenbrink. He leads the Hoosiers with goals with 9. Sarver down, and that's a foul. And Indiana will have another set piece and another tantalizing spot.
Sarver just waits, and then finally goes one direction. And by the time that happens, the foul already committed by Alex Bamford.
So Wittenbrink will take it again, see if the Hoosiers can get on the same page this time. IU has struggled this year off free kicks. I've not scored a goal off a free kick this season. Done much better off throw-ins and corners, but Hoosiers, though, they've had a lot of opportunities on free kicks. I've not scored a goal. Trying to change it here. Wittenbrink into the box. It's a good ball. It is just wide of the post. Oh, it took a few deflections, but it's just a goal kick for the Thundering Herd.
It was Joey Mayer, the last one there, kind of crashing in from on the far post. Didn't expect the ball to get to him. I thought McDonald was going to get his head on it. It's a really good-looking ball. And then just tantalizing right across the 6. You thought it kind of would have looked like the goal that Marshall scored against Indiana, kind of right near that back post, and someone is there to head it in.
McDonald got the boot on it, and then Holmes nearly knocked it right in to the net. Would have been an own goal for Marshall. That would have been painful. Instead, just a goal kick. Indiana's had the 2 best chances so far this match, but it's been pretty cagey to start. Lots of offensive firepower, though, on both sides. Some space here from Marshall. Here comes McDonald, who's had an excellent start to this match all over the pitch for the Hoosiers. Sarver down the left side. Sarver taken down. Will we see another trip to the book? Yes, we will. Sam Sarver's speed has been difficult for Marshall to contain early, Austin.
And he can go from 0 to 100 so quickly, and you just see at the last second, wins the ball, taps it forward, and he knows the foul is coming, so just slows down and then beats his man right to the end line. Ends up winning the free kick. Similar spot as the last one, a few yards ahead. The last one was just above the C in NCAA, as you see there at the end. This one right at the edge of the A.
Morris Duggan will get the yellow card, his first yellow of the season. Junior defender out of Germany. So a yellow apiece for both sides, and Wittenbrink had great service last time, just a couple minutes ago. He'll try again here. The talented senior. Marshall heads it wide.
Corner kick for Indiana.
Hoosiers will get another corner.
Is number 22, Patrick McDonald. Substitution.
You can see head coach Chris Grassi for the Thundering Herd. What an exceptional job he has done with Marshall. They never made an NCAA tournament in their program history until he took over, standing right next to his dad, and he has led them now to their 4th straight NCAA tournament. They're going to have to defend, though, a 6th corner by the Hoosiers. It's McDonald to take it. Deflects off Bell, and Semla will just come out and grab it himself. Indiana trying a lot of short corners we've seen early, Austin. They've had no shortage of opportunities off the corner kick. Gumbali. Good late defending Sosa, and it will be a Marshall throw-in. There's just not a lot of room to work with when this Marshall defense is on the field. They don't exactly park the bus like St. Louis, as when we talked with Coach Yeagley. but they are just so stout all around, in big part because of the program that Coach Grassi has built in Huntington. Seydu, sophomore defender out of Ghana. Up to Yosef. Semla will just boot it forward for the Thundering Herd. Virginia controlled much of the first half against the Thundering Herd in Charlottesville last Sunday. Got a goal, but Marshall had the equalizer with Matthew Bell scoring in the second half before winning it in penalties. All the way back to Seydu for the Thundering Herd. It's pretty remarkable, Austin. Marshall this season has allowed more than one goal just once all year. Oh, a little bit dangerous there. Semla will just handle it. Seydu, a little too casual. That was a loss to Old Dominion. Only time they've allowed more than a goal this season.
Some of those losses have been by the score of 1-0.
Yeah.
So as talented as they are, there's a foul. Looks like it's against Jack Wagner, the freshman who made the all-freshman team in the Big Ten. They've had problems at times scoring. Felt like it's been the roles were reversed. Indiana had problems conceding goals at the beginning of the season, and now, of course, Marshall's scoring goals left and right. Indiana has not been allowing too many goals as of late.
Well, what a run this is. Wide to Yosef. He's very dangerous. Yosef on the edge of the box. De Sosa. McDonald gets in the way of it. Matthew Bell, Sunbelt Freshman of the Year. We'll play it back. Thundering Herd just one shot so far. Bell hounded. Mociones back for Bell. Headed away. Hoosiers not out of the woods yet. That deflected. And a hard foul by Sesak. No, they're not going to call the foul. It will just be a throw-in. Hard challenge, I guess I should say, for Sesak.
Definitely puts his elbow into the back a little bit.
Ayumash went down hard. No call. Throw in for Mociones.
In that exchange by number 11, Zoza.
Okiyoshi turned it over to Gumbali. Mahalik has entered the game for Indiana at forward position. That's the first change for the Hoosiers. Mahalik in for Sam Sarver at that top spot for Indiana. Both true talented sophomores for the Hoosiers, very capable of scoring. Wittenbrink takes it away. McDonald deflected off a couple Thundering Herd. And it will be, Marshall's going to keep it in. Seydu runs it down. Fighting with Wittenbrink on that far corner. And a foul's going to go on Wittenbrink.
Foul on Indiana.
Semla goal kick. Another look at the foul. Under 15 left to play here in the first half. All scoreless in Bloomington. A 2020 National Championship rematch. Bell collides late there with Harms, but he's too pleased about the contact. But for most start, Callan Radisov is let the players play. Just 5 combined fouls, even though it's been physical. Bad turnover there. Mociones has some room. The 6-year senior. Wide to Yosef. Falls to Wagner, who just clears it away. Yosef Foul is going to go on the fifth-year senior out of Germany, the Sun Belt Player of the Year. IU quickly restarting, looking for Endeli. Kubali. Indiana's tried that a few times, so quick restarts. Mahalik couldn't get it to him. Sadu clears it away. Well, we've seen the tactical differences so far between these two teams, Austin. Indiana's tried to play more of quick restarts, get it to the wingers. Marshall's played a little slower. Here's Bell. Oh, that hit off the back foot of Holmes. Kumbali is going to be called for the foul.
Foul, Indiana.
More foul on the Hoosiers.
This is where the stop and start can kind of favor Marshall, and Kumbali's on the wrong end there, and ends up tug from behind. Pretty easy call for the referee, but this is where the stop and start is a Marshall team that likes to play that way, like to get their opponents kind of off their rhythm a little bit, and they can play fast at times as well, and quickly out of nowhere score one. As a little tussle there between Sesok, the Marshall players, and Todd Yeagley's not happy.
Side referee telling them to calm down. Todd Yeagley does not appreciate the extracurriculars. You're right about that. You know, there's already bad blood between these two squads. Played for nearly 100 minutes in Cary, North Carolina, the national championship game that, well, 2 seasons ago, due to being played in the spring, that was only 18 months ago. Mayer will just clear it way away. Marshall, 7 players have played in that national championship game on their squad, and Indiana 9. Oh, that's looked like a foul, potentially in a dangerous spot, but no call. Marshall wants a foul. Couldn't hear if there was a whistle because the band was playing, but there wasn't one. Sadu has been excellent defensively for Marshall. The defenseman's going to take it up himself. Chip by Wagner. Wide to Ayumesh. Parents France native. Leads the team in assists with 9. Sunbelt newcomer of the year, transfer from Albany. Marshall's lost some key pieces last couple of years, but they have reloaded going into the transfer portal and getting some key guys. Ayumesh is at the top. Ayumesh, at the top of that list. Forward for Bell, the freshman. One piece to note weather-wise, the mist that it was blowing around for much of the first 30 minutes or so of this match and the hours before has finally subsided. It's a hard play in the middle of the field, no call. Mayer collided with, I believe, Holmes to get another look. And with the Thundering Herd players still down, the athletic training staff for the Thundering Herd going to come out. That is Holmes. Oh,
a little, yeah.
Here, looked like he hit the head of Holmes coming down. Incidental contact. Always worry about those head injuries. Freshman midfielder. It's going to be a chance for both sides to regroup. Indiana, well, gathering around Todd Yeagley to hear some words from the Indiana head skipper. Holmes comes slowly to his feet. Let's send it over to Audrey, who has more on this match.
Yeah, well, we have been seeing Indiana push the pace in transition by sending those long balls down the field, which is something IU head coach Todd Yeagley said his team would have to do to win this game. Yeagley said early this week that he needs players like Samuel Sarver and Malum Gumbale on the front line to provide that necessary speed to catch up with those long transition balls. And on the sidelines, you can hear Yeagley constantly reassuring his players to keep sending those long passes.
Great insight, Audrey. Waiting for the restart. Looks like Holmes is going to be able to come back into the game and be all right. Good to see. He will now come back in after the restart.
His dad played football at Kentucky. I think he's a tough kid.
He's a West Virginia native from Ona, which is just 20 minutes away from the Marshall campus in Huntington. He's a hometown kid. Well, just over 8 minutes left to play here in the first half, scoreless. Feels like it's been pretty even over the last 20 minutes or so. What do you want to see from both sides to try to seize control here in these last 8 minutes, Austin? Is Yosef's going to try to play down a ball. Yosef with some space. Defended by BB. Marshall's going to reset here. They've got lots of options. Osi Yunus deflects, and that will be, I thought it would be a corner. Marshall is sure of it, but Colin Radisov is pointing for a goal kick, to the disbelief of the Thundering Herd and their fans.
It definitely deflected off of McDonald. There's no doubt about that. As soon as he saw there was a wind-up for a shot, he immediately stepped in. The question, I think, was whether it took another deflection off of a Marshall player. Happened all in an instant. Doesn't make it easy.
Seeing the frustration. Taimu Lukiyoshi couldn't believe it. Indiana's going to play it back in. Carson Henderlong has just entered the game for the Hoosiers. Malum Gumbale out, part of the wealth of resources on the front line for the Hoosiers. McDonald in space. Looking for Sarver. Wittenbrink into the box. Sadu got a piece of it. Yosef. Good turn, but can't clear it out. Oh, good move by Beebe. Deflects and wide.
That's much better from Indiana. That pressure that you see kind of off of a slip originally. There it is right there. And then Indiana picks it up. And Beebe, not a guy who you think would kind of dribble downhill with it. Gets that to his left foot.
Joseph down hard, but back up on his feet now. He's already gone down a couple times. Beebe, the defenseman, only 2 goals this season, 3 in his career. Gave it a good go there. Guess back to my original question, is I guess more like that what you want to see from Indiana to try to seize control of this match?
Yeah, it felt like in the first few minutes, there were just some passes in the final third that weren't being connected. I think was the difference. But we're really seeing a lot of pressure here from Indiana and for Marshall. I think they're trying to get a lot of calls from the referee here, who has kind of done a nice job really sticking to his thought of letting the game play out and trying not to make any controversial decisions that really would decide the match. So I think Marshall are maybe trying to selling things a little bit, need to play on a little bit more. They have plenty of talent to beat this team, but they're kind of playing like an underdog right now, trying to get the referee to be on their side a little bit.
Pretty even last half hour or so. Now 4 shots for Marshall, 2 for Indiana. Here's Henderlong, Xavier transfer. Out wide to Wittenbrink. Most dangerous player likely on the field on either side. Wittenbrink into the box, punched away by Semla. The ball is still in play, and it will finally roll out for a corner kick. It is Indiana's 8th corner of this half.
That's going towards the frame of goal, so nice job from Semla to read that. When you're inside your 6, you're that close to goal, you can't take any chances, and with that right hand just kind of swats it away. Maybe that ball could have been kept in as it was kind of rolling out. Everyone kind of thought it would just go out, and it kind of waited till the last second. But another corner here for Indiana, their first in some time, though.
McDonald will take the near corner. He'll go long this time. Sadu got ahead on it. And the Ghana defenseman's been excellent today. Marshall man down, no call, but just cleared away by the Thundering Herd. Mohamed Seydu, sophomore defender at Accra, Ghana, played his high school ball in Connecticut. Starting for the third straight match, he has been all over the pitch for the Thundering Herd here in the first 45.
It was really key last week as well. We mentioned the Marshall match against UVA. They were outshot 11-5 in the first half of that match before eventually tying it up in shots in the second, but were really outplayed and were lucky to only be down by one, and they had plenty of quality to find the equalizer, and then it looked really good in penalties after an extra time, which kind of dragged along as you'd expect. 20 minutes of both teams kind of just possessing and not trying to do too much and not jeopardizing a mistake that would lead to a potential game-winning goal.
Only 2 shots in extra time in Charlottesville before Marshall won in penalty kicks. Only their second time ever in the NCAA tournament in PKs. There's a bad turnover. A shot by Sesak.
Indiana shot by number 10, Tommy Mahalik.
Mahalik, excuse me. Off the side netting. What a mind-boggling bad giveaway by Marshall. And then there just wasn't really an angle there for Mahalik to do anything.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of players kind of on the top of the box yelling at Mahalik, trying to get the ball because the net was still pretty open, but I think he was trying to look that way and then try and deke.
Henderlong looking for Endley. Herb Endley. Semla, I believe, just got a finger on it. He did. It will be another Indiana corner, number 8. Hoosiers have gotten some good looks on these corner kicks. They're at the biggest side. Another quick look at Endley's shots. Ryan Winbrink. Headed away by Holmes. McDonald back out to Winbrink. Winbrink into the box. And off the side netting, a goal kick for the Thundering Herd.
St. Louis did a nice job last week in the first half, and Marshall's done just as good of a job limiting Wittenbrink. We know he can kind of go both ways, and Marshall's kind of not made it easy for him to go on either foot. And if you're going to take a chance, you might as well have him go on that weaker left foot of his, and you can tell they're not with a great angle, but it's only the side netting without a deflection.
Sesak to Mahalik, both wearing those neon green boots tonight. And it's going to be another corner kick for Indiana, deflected off Ayumash. It's been McDonald every time on the near flag and Winbrink every time on the far flag. And it's maybe been the biggest storyline of this first half, the 9th corner kick for Indiana. Marshall does not have a single corner kick. 1 assist on the season for McDonald. It's a good one. And Semla almost basket caught it. It bounced off his hands. And McDonald will get to do it all over again. Awkward for Semla.
I don't think you saw it till the last second, Griffin. Joey Mayer was just sitting there on the near post acting as a decoy almost and trying to let that ball go through.
McDonald again. And this time much easier for Semla. A minute left here in the first half. Indiana's had a good last 10 minutes or so, though, Austin.
Yeah, it's been much better. Their pressure has been there, and actually been Marshall the one that's made some mistakes in the back that allowed them to have so many set-piece opportunities. But Indiana's got to capitalize on one of those if they really want to take this game by the stranglehold.
Indiana was all level with St. Louis last Sunday here at Armstrong Stadium. Ryan Winbrink had the winner for the Hoosiers midway through the second half. Foul on McDonald. Now likely take us to the end of the first 45. Out wide. Bell, one last chance. Joseph, excuse me. Sesak will just clear it, and that will do it for the first 45 minutes. 0-0 at the end of 45 minutes. Indiana 5 shots to Marshall 4. The Hoosiers had the only 2 shots on frame. The big difference, again, in corner kicks. 10 corners for Indiana, none for Marshall. And got to give credit to referee Callan Radasavi. Let him play. 5 fouls for Indiana, 3 for Marshall, even though it was a pretty physical first half. Austin, your overall first thoughts on these first 45 of this NCAA round of 16 match?
I think you could tell in the first, quarter hour or so that both teams hadn't played in a week. They were a bit sloppy in the back, kind of getting adjusted to the conditions as well. But the game kind of opened up. Marshall really wanted to play fast and work off of those quick set pieces nicely, and nearly got some fouls in some very fortunate areas. But Indiana in those last 10 minutes kind of proved who they were. They put their pressure up against Marshall, ended up creating some mistakes and just those chances that maybe some more quality in the final third's the difference. But it's a really good first half from both sides. I like how both kind of fit their games into this first 45, and then I'm excited for the second half for sure.
Entertaining 45 minutes. Let's send it down to Audrey Hasberger, who's with Marshall head coach Chris Grassi.
I'm here with Coach Chris Grassi. Coach, you're in a deadlock still. Indiana's pushing the pace, but your defense has kept it at a 0-0 deadlock. What have you liked from them so far?
Yeah, as the game settled down, I thought there was a lot of high energy from Indiana, and they were playing on the counter-attack, which we knew they would. Just trying to play quickly and behind. So I think as the game settled down, we started to see a little bit more, of our defenders on the ball and kind of keeping possession of it and trying to create chances. I think we can be a lot better in the second half with our execution, but pretty happy with the way we've defended.
Do you think the fouling has messed up any of that execution you just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little bit chippy. I think, the field's wet, so guys are diving in. I think as we get used to the game, I think the second half it'll be more us on the taking advantage, hopefully.
What's the message for the locker room to get a leg up in this game?
Go score goals.
Thank you, Coach.
Simple enough. Both teams want to do that as we're all tied 0-0 at the half. We'll be back for the second half shortly. You're watching the NCAA tournament on ESPN+.
Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry in to get our best deals of the season. Get in and get away. Get 0% APR financing plus 0 payments for 90 days on select vehicles. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
This holiday, you can gift more and spend less at TJ Maxx, Marshall, and Home Goods, with more cheer to go around and more joy for your money.
With Daisy sour cream, every bite gets better. Every dollar, every squeeze, every moment together. Pop it up, pick it up. You can never get enough when you do $1 for Daisy. Good food tastes better with $1 for Daisy. Do $1, yeah. Everything tastes better with $1 for Daisy.
Cyber Monday deals are now at Target. Score major savings site-wide. Shop now through Monday, online only. Deals so good, you can holiday your way. Only at Target.
Will remain radioactive for years to come. Well, thank goodness it's time for the good news of the week.
And boy, do we need it. Well, this safe driver saved money with the Snapshot app from Progressive. How do you feel?
Good.
He's better than good. He got rewarded for driving safe and driving less.
Sorry, Barb, just to confirm, this is the feel-good news of the week?
This is what we found. Yay, Snapshot.
It's a beautiful time for basketball. Lakers, Bucks, and a special all-cast with Stephen A., part of a doubleheader.
opposite sides of the field. Wind has settled down as well. Oh, bad turnover. It falls to McDonald. Wittenbrink. Wittenbrink with some space. Osionis clears it away. Right side. Sesak. Forward for Endely. Hoosiers will play it back. What do you want to see from both sides, Austin? What do both sides need to do to try to come away with a win today?
I think Indiana, they have to be a bit more clinical in the final third.
Tried to do so here. Sesak into the box and just comfortably cleared away by Bamford on the back end.
I think number one is, of course, get the quality in the final third, especially with the 10 corners, the previous ones, this being 11, have to be a bit better. Wittenbrink has delivered most of them.
Brink will take the corner at the flag. Of course, flipping sides of the field. Dangerous right foot of Wittenbrink. He's red hot for the Hoosiers. Last 6 games, has a point in every game. 3 goals, 3 assists. Wittenbrink into the box. Far post, score! Brett Beebe gives Indiana a 1-0 lead. Another look, Austin.
There's that quality in the final third. Beebe just wins his header against the height right at the top of the 6, and what a time to score such a big goal. Didn't have the best first half maybe on his accounts on the defensive end, but definitely made up for it. What a great delivery by Wittenbrink. It only takes him some time. He'll get enough chances, and finally Indiana does in fact get that goal. Took him to the 76th minute last week against SLU. This time barely 2 minutes into this second half.
The corner kicks finally pay off. They had 10 corners in the first half, couldn't score on the first of the second half. Wittenbrink with the assist. Brett Beebe with his 3rd goal of the season, just his 4th of his career. The senior defenseman out of Shorewood, Illinois, with a moment he'll never forget, especially if Indiana holds this lead.
7th straight game for Wittenbrink with either a goal or an assist.
What a tear he's been on. Now 9 assists on the year, and he has the only Big Ten team left playing is Indiana. Ball forward too far. So Wittenbrink now leads all Big Ten players with 9 assists on this season. In the service, Beebe the goal. 2 seniors who both played 18 months ago in that national championship match to Marshall. Lost then, looking for revenge today. They're 42 minutes away. Marshall looking for the answer. Mooney clears it away. How do you expect Marshall's shape and tactics now to change down a goal, Austin?
Well, it's exactly what happened last time against UVA. Well, don't concede a second here.
Wagoner, this could be a 3-on-2. Wagoner taken down from behind. And here comes the card, I would imagine.
Foul of Marshall.
A foul on Wagoner. Actually, no card, it appears, but a dangerous free kick opportunity for the Hoosiers.
Considering there's no yellow card, that's an excellent foul there. 3-on-2 right after your team concedes. You can't allow a second one, and the floodgates open in a sense for Marshall. But expect them to definitely apply more pressure, get more into this match, control more of the possession like they did in that little spurt during the first half.
Indiana taking the lead in the 46th minute right out of halftime. And Wittenbrink, the assist, looking for a second one here. Played short to McDonald into the box. Headed away by Duggan. Wittenbrink. Oh, that's too tall.
Indiana shot taken by number 18, Ryan Wittenbrink.
You mentioned it, Austin. Marshall played from behind against UVA last week. Has lost our picture for just a second here. Marshall's foul on Indiana, so Marshall's going to get a free kick. Well, you can't see.
Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus.
Pulls right back to Indiana, still in the Hoosiers attacking side of the field. Sesok sends one into the box, deflects, bounces around, and falls to Marshall on the edge of the 18. Left side for Marshall to Yosef. He is fouled.
Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete 30 for 30 library. Exclusive access. Top leagues and tournaments. And the biggest names in the game. ESPN Plus. Live sports. Thousands of live events. ESPN Plus originals. The exclusive home of the complete
30 18-yard box. Back out to the logo in Brett Beebe. And played all the way back to the center circle in Jack Wagoner. Left side for Beebe. Beebe with some space at the logo. Gets it to Windenbrink down the left side. Plays it back out to Jack McDonald. Patrick McDonald, excuse me. Mayer, right side to Sesok. Back into Marshall side of the field. Mooney bumps it forward for Goombali, and a foul is going to be called on Goombali, and it will be a Marshall free kick. Thundering Herd just trying to get some sort of possession here as they trail 1-0.
This referee here in the second half definitely blowing his whistle a lot more, knowing that the stakes are now that much higher considering there's a goal to Indiana's name.
Alan Radisov, our referee today. Marshall plays it all the way back to their keeper, who was looking for Yosef, and the ball all the way across the pitch falls into the hands of Harms. He'll throw it out to Beebe on the left side. Indiana forward to the halfway line, bounced off a couple of players, falls to Windenbrink. He's right at the center circle. Kicks it right side to Wagner. Down the right flank to Nick Sesok. Sesok's got some space down the right side. 30 yards out. Sesok slows it down right side to Herb Endele. Endele at the edge of the box. Endele cutting into the 18. Deflects off Goombali's foot. And Semla is there. Endele, a good cross. Goombali just got a foot on it. And if maybe he got full contact, could have bumped it over Semla. But Semla able to get his two paws on it and come up with a big save. Oh, a bad turnover on the back. Goombali had a shot on goal, and Semla got his body in the way of it. Marshall just lazy on the back end, turned it right over, and it fell right to Goombali in front of net. It was only him and Semla blocked it with his chest. Oh, my goodness, Austin.
I think Goombali could have even played it back to Sarver there, who initially got the ball, and I think he might have had maybe an open goal, but right as Semla was kind of scrambling, Goombali just kicked it right at him.
And oh man, it will be Marshall ball now. They play it out of their back end. Left side looking for Yosef. He's going to have a long run down the left side. Will he get there? He will keep it in play. Right in front of the far side flag. Into the edge of the 18 for Marshall, looking for the equalizer. Yosef working the German into the box. Mooney clears it away. And BB will knock it all the way back. Looking for Endley, who was the only man up for Indiana. Sadu with a nice play. And it'll be Thundering Herd possession right at the center circle. Marshall ball in their own possession, in their own side of the field, I should say. They play it forward to Sosa. He works around Mayer. Sosa down the left side. Got the logo for Marshall, just trying to settle it down and gain some possession. All the way back to Semla in his own box, pressed high by Indiana. Nice pass from Holmes, forward. It's Ryan Holmes again, looking forward for Yosef, and Sesak with a nice play to run it down. Back in Indiana's side of the pitch, and then a misplay from Mooney, and the ball will roll all the way out to the end line, or the touch line, excuse me, and Holmes will get a throw in deep into Indiana territory. Marshall looking for the equalizer. McDonald will just clear a ball away.
I was going to say, in the last few minutes, it looked like Indiana was the team chasing a goal with all that pressure they had. And right there, Mooney was pointing forwards for Sesak to just thump it forward, and instead got the ball and kind of panicked and then just kicked it out of play, swept it aside to his left.
Marshall ball, get it left side into Indiana territory, 40 yards out. It's Yosef working there at the NCAA logo. Yosef down the left side at the edge of the 18. He falls down hard. Battling with Sesak, and the foul is on Yosef. It's an Indiana free kick.
Sesak lost his shoe there as well, as he got a flat tire a little bit in the back, and a nice job from him. He knows that Marshall's been using that left flank, really trying to use that speed, and they're not afraid to really send the ball forward, Griffin, and really try and allow one of the forwards. They have two stars, of course, Yosef and Bell. Allow one of those guys to kind of use their technicality and go one-on-one on anyone and just kind of take a shot against JT Harms.
Certainly works well. Yosef now on the right side, plays it into the box. Mooney clears it away. BB falls to his foot. He sends it down left side.
Extra ruling and allows that one to go in a corner instead of a free kick for Indiana in their own half.
Thundering Herd from a corner from the far corner. Sosa will take it into the far post. Bounced off ahead, and the ball will fly just above the bar. It was high in the air, and Harms just watch it fly over his head. and off the back of the net, and it will be a goal kick for JT Harms and the Hoosiers.
That's how Marshall scored last week, Griffin. Kind of a scramble off of a corner. The ball came out, and a shot actually hit off the crossbar initially on a little flick in front, and then it ended up being an easy header for Bell, kind of one-on-one with the keeper, and just kind of put it right below his left arm to equalize the score at 1, but kind of a similar-looking play there. It could have ended up 1-1 as well.
Harms goal kick to the center circle, deflects, falls to Seydu for Marshall. Forward for Holmes at the center line. And it falls for Sosa down the left side. Sosa falls, and a foul on Indiana, and a tantalizing free kick opportunity for Marshall. It's going to be about 25 yards out, straight on. We'll see what the Thundering Herd can do. Certainly one of their best set piece opportunities of the day. Piers Yosef will take it for Marshall. Milo Yosef, the redshirt senior out of Germany, 8 goals on the season, second on the team. Take it from 30 yards out for the Thundering Herd. And there we go. Hallelujah. It's good to have picture back. Yosef to take it. Yosef in, and it was Harms who was there to recover it on one bounce. Oh, it feels good to be back to normal, Austin. I love radio, but there's a reason they pay us the big bucks for TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, if Bell scored there, that would have been something. He waits for the cameras to turn on and then puts one right in the corner.
Hey, lights, camera, action. What do you say? So if you're just joining us again, Marshall has had a good last 5 minutes or so after the Indiana goal, had their first corner kick, had a good free kick there, and feels like Chris Grassi's squad starting to build up right now, trying to find some momentum for the Thundering Herd to find the equalizer. This Indiana back line has been superb of late for the Hoosiers. Had 2 of their shutouts in the postseason, held a dangerous Maryland squad to 1 goal in the Big Ten tournament semis, and shut out St. Louis last Sunday in the NCAA tournament second round. Didn't allow a shot on goal so far today. St. Louis has just, or Marshall, excuse me, has just that 1 shot on goal you just saw. Endley is now down. Sarver was the man initially down, but Endley has fallen to the pitch now. And the IU athletic training staff is about to take a look at referee Callan Radisov, offering some explanations to Ryan Holmes. Seen a lot of players go down. It's that kind of year. You're nearing the end of the year. Bodies are tired. They are worn down. It's nearly December. I mean, these teams started play in late August.
And I think this kind of could be a cramp situation with, you see the way they're trying to stretch out Endley's leg. It being cold definitely doesn't help the fact that this guy's legs, of course, you mentioned, have been beaten and battered this entire season from so many minutes of play. Just trying to see him jog it off there.
Temperature 43 right now, and lowering a little bit over the course of the night. Wind chill, though, at about 38. Much better than last week, though, here in Bloomington, where wind chills were about 20 degrees for a midday game. See Endley coming off.
For Indiana, entering the game, number 10,
Tommy Mahalik, who has not played a lot today for the Hoosiers, will re-enter. IU does have a lot of depth at that forward position. Hoosiers quickly looking for Mahalik off the restart. Marshall will handle it. And while your picture was gone, we saw a lot of Milo Yosef for Marshall. Here's Gumbali, though, the other way for Indiana. It falls to Duggan. Oh, another bad turnover on the back end. Mahalik, he's dangerous. Sophomore gets it back to Sesok. It falls to the freshman Wagoner, the only freshman that has gotten significant playing time this season for Indiana. And the Hoosiers will play it all the way back to Harms. That's the 3rd time, I think, today, Austin. We've just seen a really bad giveaway by the back line of Marshall.
I think there might have been some miscommunication there because Mahalik is just kind of lurking in that situation.
Oh, that's a pretty play by Sarver. He passed it off his back, right off the number 9 on his jersey, and it nearly fell perfectly to Mahalik. These 2 sophomores have had excellent chemistry their first 2 years in Bloomington. Part of the young nucleus that will remain for IU after this season. Hoosier is the most consistent program in the country. Wittenbrink is fouled in the middle of the field. It's going to be a free kick for Indiana. IU making the final 16 this year, the 8th straight season. IU has made it into the 3rd round. That's the longest active streak now in the NCAA tournament. Light push on Bamford. Now, you talked about at the open in the second half. Marshall is a team under Chris Grassi, one of the rising powers in NCAA soccer, winning the national title in 2020. Their 4th straight NCAA tournament this year. They obviously with the ring, you have everyone's attention, but they've been doing it consistently too the last 4 years, making the tournament. Indiana, though, is the model of consistency across college soccer. Here's an opportunity for Marshall. Deflects, falls to Bell. Matthew Bell in the box. Matthew Bell somehow has it, deflects off the foot of Harms. Oh my. Matthew Bell had the ball at his feet for an eternity. Will be a throw-in for Marshall. It was Holmes eventually who had a shot, and Harms dismissed it with the right foot. Joseph plays it back. Holmes, Bamford, excuse me. Bell. The dangerous freshman, Matthew Bell to Holmes, wide. The Thundering Herd are building and building. You can hear the herd right now rumbling down the hill. Let's send it over to Audrey.
Marshall's head coach, Chris Grassi, has been at the helm of the Herd for 6 seasons now, but his coaching experience at Marshall really dates back to 2004 when Grassi served as a graduate assistant to former head coach Bob Gray. Gray said that when Grassi worked as his graduate assistant, he might as well have been a head coach, and he continued to say that he could tell that being a head coach was in Grassi's blood. Well, Gray definitely foreshadowed that one, as Grassi is now one of the most successful coaches in the program, being the fastest coach in program history to reach 50 wins in only 88 matches. And when I talked to Grassi before the game, he said that he shared that confidence that Gray had in him, saying even that at that young age, Grassi knew he could be a head coach somewhere. He just didn't predict he'd be back at Marshall. Guys.
Thanks, Audrey. That's great stuff on Marshall's history and the incredible job Grassi has done. Took over for a really good coach in Bobby Gray, but never took them to the NCAA tournament. And a short while, Grassi has taken them not just to the NCAA tournament, but to heights few teams ever can go to in a national championship trophy. They've been ranked in every U.S. soccer coaches poll since fall 2019. Just a remarkable job, one of the best in the country by the Newcastle, England native Chris Grassi. See, Todd Yeagley, he's not too happy right now with Indiana. It's been all Marshall the last 10 minutes or so. Thundering Herd looking for the equalizer. Joseph. Back for Joseph. Good speed, but not good enough. It falls to Harms. Can you name, a program that's had a more impressive turnaround? You think across college sports, what Chris Grassi has done with Marshall, bringing a team that never made the NCAA tournament to a national title winner. It's just remarkable. You have any examples, Austin? Think of anyone?
Well, we could give me the easy one, and I could say Indiana women's basketball and for a team that hasn't too much success.
Well, here's Joseph. Joseph! No. Well off the mark. Richard Sr. not wanting this to be his last game, gave it a go, but well off the mark for the German native. You can see his accolades. The Sun Belt Player of the Year has been excellent all season long.
Definitely that move to the Sun Belt really helps them, Griffin, of course, in terms of attention. You talk about teams that, of course, turning their programs around, but don't get the attention they deserve. And Marshall, of course, moving to a conference where, of course, you have the likes of West Virginia and Kentucky, the number one team in the nation, according to the NCAA when they released their bracket. So it definitely helps them, and the fact that they picked up results against those teams really bolsters their strong resume. And Todd Yeagley mentioned it, I've said it before, that this could very well be a seeded team. Marshall could be playing this match at home if it wasn't for some couple of results here and there that didn't go their way.
Sarver looking right side for Endley. Good job running it down by Masi Yunus. A foul on Indiana. Couple subs for the Hoosiers. Ryan Winterbrink has just exited for the first time today. Carson Henderlong, the Xavier transfer, takes his spot. And Ben Yeagley is onto the pitch for the first time today. See the clear foul by Gumbali. Yeagley replacing Jack Wagoner. Looks like we're going to see another sub coming up for Indiana. Just over 20 minutes left to play. Indiana trying to get back to the NCAA quarterfinals. They haven't been there in a normal scenario since 2018. They went to the College Cup that year and lost. Of course, to the quarterfinals in 2020, but that was in the bubble COVID spring tournament in Cary, North Carolina. Herb Endley getting set to check in for Indiana before the throw-in. As you can see, the Hoosier Army trying to get into the heads of the Marshall players. I don't know what they're yelling, Austin. They look like they're getting pretty personal. Or maybe they're trying to help out the referees.
I think Marshall was a bit disappointed that the referee didn't allow the advantage to continue on that foul from Gumbali in the opposing box. Looked like Marshall might have had something going the other way at that moment.
That's a fair point. Stopped it. Free kick. Nothing came of it for the Thundering Herd. Now it's Mahalik the other way. The star sophomore. What a challenge. That's Ryan Holmes. Alex Bamford. Sophomore defender who is making just his 14th appearance of the season in with Gabriel Alves out suspended today due to yellow card accumulation. He's had some good moments. BB to throw it in. Looking for Henderlong. Henderlong at the edge of the box. Intercepted. Oh, that's a hard foul. No call. Henderlong to Endley. And Osiunis will just clear it away. Throw-in coming for Indiana. Starting to get a little testy here in Bloomington. There was a card, I believe, handed out there. Trying to get confirmation of that. Mooney. Right side to Endley. Sesak, the cross in. It's headed away. Gumbali got the yellow card. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Or unsporting, they call it. Unsportsmanlike conduct is football. Other kind of football. So Gumbali's first yellow. Endley is the other yellow card right now for Indiana. It's Duggan with the lone yellow for the Thundering Herd. Under 20 left to play here in the NCAA tournament round of 16. Marshall trying to keep their season alive, looking for an equalizer. Hoosiers looking to get back to the NCAA tournament for the 5th time under Todd Yeagley. Mooney sends it forward. Just headed away by Souza. Osiunis has been busy today. Him and Endley fighting. Marshall had a good 5-10 minutes. I've lost possession over the last 10 or so. Forward Bell and, gutsy by Harms to come off his line. Holmes fighting through all sorts of crimson jerseys, and he's rewarded a foul called on Yeagley to the displeasure of the home fans. Quick restart by the Thundering Herd. Youssef. We've seen Harms do that a lot this season. He's a very aggressive goalkeeper.
He's a definition of your goalkeeper sweeper. Doesn't mind coming out, make big clearances like that. It's cost him a couple times this season. You think of the Evansville match where the only goal that Purple Aces scored was on a play like that where Harms came out, was beat, and the goal was wide open. But that was split-second decision. He had to make the right one, and it was very thorough.
Holmes
leave any doubt.
Kept it in, falls to Bell. Hollick tried to clear it away. Bell fancy to keep it alive, and Yeagley, the coach's son, will clear it away. Pretty touch by Sarver. He's down hard. The Indiana sideline is irate. And here comes a car. Mohamed Seydoux into the book.
Yellow card issued to Marshall number 24.
I'll say the way Sam Sarver got up there. Oh, wow. I don't think he was even trying to show off.
He did that early in the first half, very nonchalant to the pleasure of the Hoosier Army.
Pure athleticism from the young sophomore. Mahalik, and hold on. It's going to be Marshall ball.
Offsides.
The flag was up. That's the first time we've seen the flag up all day. Maybe not been as open as we maybe both coaches expected it to be today, but it's hard not to be cagey at times in the NCAA tournament. It certainly was in the national championship match a year and a half ago. It was, again, Yosef making a run forward, and again, too far. Now they're looking for the fifth-year senior right now, Austin.
You need a goal, there's a guy to rely on. It's the guy who's been with your program for a while, experienced kind of the up and downs. Of course, been in a few conferences now as well. Seen plenty of opponents in the way they play.
Yosef was the one who had the run, set the ball up in the box that led to that national championship winning goal for Marshall 18 months ago. See some substitutions. One substitution make it for the Thundering Herd. Alexander Ajeti, a senior forward out of Ghana, will come in. And Seydoux with that yellow will come on out. Ayumash actually will come on out. He's getting waved goodbye by the Crimson Army.
When you play on the right side in the back here, you're going to be turned into a friend of the Crimson Army in a sense, in terms of someone they can pick on.
It's part of the reason Indiana has had such an exceptional advantage here at Bill Armstrong Stadium. Marshall's been a little testy at times at the back four, some bad giveaways. Looking forward here for Duggan to fall. Indiana, 14-3 in NCAA tournaments at home under Todd Yeagley. He took over in 2010, and IU has lost just one home match this season, and dating all the way back to October 1st of last year. This will be a Marshall throw-in. 15 left to play. Do the Thundering Herd have an equalizer in them? They equalized in the second half against Virginia and sent that game to penalty kicks, but it was already earlier than now. Sarver back to Endley, just couldn't connect. The Hoosiers haven't been shy for looking for a second, looking for some insurance. Also Eunice, oh, he lost it. That's not a good place to lose it. McDonald. Oh, it falls to Yeagley. Semla is there. And that could have shut the door on this match. But Semla, fifth-year senior, has been excellent his whole career for Marshall. Comes up with a save, and now Sarver is fouled. Now, you'd see a lot of teams in this spot just sit back, Austin. Hoosiers are not doing that.
It's a good play once again from Sarver using your speed. You're absolutely right, Griffin. It's so tough for head coach and Todd Yeagley to decipher between going for that second or sitting back, parking the bus, and trying to collect that clean sheet and win 1-0. Last week against St. Louis, it was so much different considering they didn't have as much prowess as Marshall does, especially in the attacking third, but the pressure from Indiana at stints has really allowed them for opportunities like that. And I mean, Sarver has done a really nice job winning a bunch of free kicks, and as you'd expect, the yellow card was given out there.
Jonas will get the yellow, called for unsporting. Ryan Wittenbrink with a good opportunity on the free kick. Off the head of Henderlong, misplayed on the back end by Holmes. Mayer in. Seydoux got his body to it. Still not out of the woods. Seydoux has been so good tonight. For Marshall, that's cleared away. Well, we're getting shocking words from Lexington. Kentucky, who has not lost all season long, has just seemed nearly unstoppable, has lost tonight against Pitt in Lexington. The number 1 team in the NCAA tournament is out. That's a good play by Endely to play it off the feet of Mosionis and a corner for the Hoosiers. Indiana is 13th of the match. They scored the lone goal off a corner. Brett Beebe the goal. Ryan Wittenbrink the assist. That was the first corner in this second half, the 46 minutes. The senior Beebe putting Indiana in front, and the Hoosiers trying, hoping these 13 more minutes can tick away as quick as possible. McDonald will take it on the far side. Couple sums. Wagner in for Henderlong. The corner to the back post. BB was there for a second. Deflects out. And cleared away. Now your quick reactions on that, Austin. What a shocking result. Kentucky, definitely the most dominant team across NCAA soccer going out tonight against Pitt.
And it just shows you that unseeded teams, you got to throw seeds away in this sort of tournament. And it shows you just that every team in the tournament can win big matches and can end up hoisting the trophy, as we saw Marshall do kind of out of nowhere a few years ago. And, seeds are falling left and right. So if Indiana can hold on, that would be huge for them. And it feels like in their side of the bracket, the bottom left corner, all the seeds are winning their matches. Of course, Stanford and UNC Greensboro about to kick off in a few moments. But seeds going down, of course, Pitt, another one of those teams that historically have had so much success. Kentucky, not as much, but when you're the number 1 team, of course, you deserve all the respect. But Indiana, the score may have been 3-0 here at Bill Armstrong. They only lost at home this season for the Hoosiers, but that was a match a lot closer than that.
Endely, right side, looking for the insurance for Indiana. Endely, the senior, into the box to Wittenbrink. The redhead assassin looking for more for the Hoosiers. Already has an assist. Wittenbrink. And Seydoux is there. Wittenbrink with the assist. He now has a point in his last 7 games. Either a goal or assist. In the last 7, he has peaked at the perfect time. Sarver putting on the Jets and just takes it away. Zop just got it taken away from him, and then Sarver's run off for naught. This will be a Marshall throw-in. The Thundering Herd trying to get back to the quarterfinals for just the second time in program history. The first, of course, in 2020 when they won the national championship. And as you said, Austin, the way things are falling across the NCAA tournament, it is anyone's championship trophy to hold. Portland and Pitt, 2 unseeded teams, are going to play in the quarterfinals now with that Pitt win. Here's Joseph. He is the dangerous one for Marshall. Holmes into the box. Sessick got ahead on it. Down goes Yeagley, and a foul on Marshall. Winner of this match will hit the road to take on either number 5 Stanford or number 12 UNC Greensboro. They have kicked off in Palo Alto, scoreless, but very early in that battle between Stanford and the SoCon champions, UNC Greensboro. Greensboro was lucky to advance. Penalty kicks, they knocked off the last other remaining Big Ten team, Ohio State. Of course, IU fans also have bad memories playing against Stanford. That would be certainly amusing if IU knocked off one team they lost to in the national championship game against Marshall, only to play Stanford, who they lost to also in a golden goal in overtime in 2018. They lost that in Philadelphia. Part of what has been or 2017, excuse me, was that loss to Stanford. Part of it's been numerous golden goal defeats for IU. 5 of the last 6 years they've lost at the hands of a golden goal in the NCAA tournament. Down the left side. Oh, here's Joseph, deflects. Beebe clears it away. Endely can't keep it in. Throw in, Thundering Herd.
The shot was taken by number 7, Milo Wilson, blocked by Indiana.
Everyone holding their breath. IU fans here at Bill Armstrong Stadium, and everyone watching across the Midwest, from Eddie from Chicago to Bob in Evansville. IU fans hoping the Hoosiers can get back to the quarterfinals for the fourth time make it in the last 6 seasons. It'll be the 5th time under Todd Yeagley if they can make it since 2010. So there are 8 left to play. What does Marshall need to try to do here to search for an equalizer, Austin?
Let's just try and use their speed, I think, through the middle a bit. We've seen some balls over the top, especially they're trying to flip the middle of the field here, as we see right there.
Into Bamford, too far. And that last pass just has not been there today for the Thundering Herd. This has not been the easiest of seasons for Indiana. At one point, IU almost looked like they might be a bubble team in the NCAA tournament, seemingly unthinkable for a program that's made now 36 straight NCAA tournaments, but IU played well down the stretch, won 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, and that was enough to be the only Big Ten team to be seeded. As much as there's been some shaky results, IU is under 8 minutes away from getting back to the NCAA tournament quarterfinals. Falls to Beebe, the goal scorer in this match for Indiana. A 4th-year senior just outside of Chicago. What could be the game-winning goal, one of the goals of his life, to send Indiana through to the quarterfinals. Freshman Bell looking for space. Ahead to Holmes, and the Hoosiers again will just clear it away.
Seems like for Marshall, there's been no penetration of this Indiana kind of in the midfield. They're just trying to send balls over the top, trying to use that individual brilliance that we've seen them use all season, but this Indiana backline is so tough to get past.
Left side looking for Souza, and too far. Or Jop, excuse me, they were looking for the UConn transfer. Arms again. And it's going to take plenty of time here for Indiana. Watching that clock slowly tick down. It's going too fast if you're a Marshall fan and way not fast enough if you're a Hoosier fan. Sam Sarver has now fallen to the pitch, and that will stop the clock. Both teams are going to make some substitutions as well.
Substitution entering the game for Marshall, number 33, Adam Ayumash. Ayumash replacing number
Ayumash, who's been in and out of the game, will take a seat or will re-enter. And Colin Mosiunas, 6-year grad defender from West Virginia for Morgantown, will exit. Gumbali in for the Hoosiers and Sam Sarver out. Fresh legs for both sides. 6 minutes left for Marshall to keep its season alive. Get back to the NCAA quarterfinals. IU 6 minutes away from revenging their 2020 national championship loss and continuing their quest for a 9th national championship. We're talking about IU not parking the bus. It appears at this point Todd Yeagley is now content to let the Hoosiers sit back and just condense that space.
Yeah, that's why I think he's only having Gumbali on in terms of that pressure up top. He was trying to get him to extend out a little bit. Well, now we see Tommy Mahalik maybe getting ready to check in.
Foul, Indiana.
Quick foul on the Hoosiers. Quick restart for Marshall. Thundering Herd have only been shut out 3 times this season. One of those was just a couple matches ago in the Sun Belt quarterfinals to James Madison. At risk of a 1-0 defeat and the end of their season for this highly experienced squad. 4 players in this Thundering Herd squad with 5+ years of D1 experience. Certainly another team Chris Grassi thought could win a national title, but they have to do something in these last 5 minutes to keep their season alive. Left side, Sosa falls to the turf, no call. It's been called pretty loosely today by Kalen Radisov, and he stays consistent. And Indiana just content to clear it now. Bell. Does the freshman have some magic in him? He's been magical all season for Marshall. Ayumash into the box. A bump and a foul will go on Bamford. He is irate.
Foul, Marshall.
Wittenbrink to the turf. Kalen Radisov with some harsh words for Bamford. There's a couple collisions in the box. Mayer went down as well with Jop. Bamford is just readjusting the shin guards. Arms will send it long for the Hoosiers. Now to play.
Arms has no desire of finding a teammate. It's just desire of taking as many seconds off the clock as he possibly can. I think Indiana is perfectly fine with kind of this sort of play. Marshall having the ball. They haven't really had too much possession in that final third. It's been a lot of balls over the top where Indiana have been very, very good in that sense. Now Todd Yeager, I think, is getting ready just to expand his bench and get as many fresh legs on as possible.
Time is of the essence for Marshall. Jump left side. Trying to build one last surge. Endley got a foot on it. Ayumash into the box. Headed away. Beebe got a head on it. And Gubali will just clear it all the way back to Seydu. There aren't too many more chances left for the Thundering Herd. Yosef, right side to Bamford. Can the fifth-year senior rescue potentially the final minutes of his career to play a little bit longer into extra time? Ayumash. De Sousa. The Frenchman Ayumash at the edge of the box. No! The assist leader for the Thundering Herd giving it a go at goal, but too wide. The Hoosiers will make some changes. Another look. Really an opportunity there for Marshall. They've really only had one good chance, and JT Harms made the save. It was Marshall had a really good 10-minute period shortly after Brett Beebe's go-ahead goal. And JT Harms was able to get the right foot on a deflected shot by Ryan Holmes. He's made the two saves he's needed today. The Duke transfer went to the Elite Eights with Duke just last year, trying to get back there with Indiana. 2.5+ left to play. See Semla coming up a little bit for the Thundering Herd. 1, 2, maybe opportunities left for Marshall to rescue their season. They are teetering on the edge of elimination, and Indiana teetering on the edge to a ticket to the quarterfinals and one step away from getting back to the College Cup in their quest for a 9th star. Yosef with some moves, under 2 remaining. Halleck popped it in the air, and it is an Indiana throw-in. It will stay Indiana ball. Another throw-in for the Hoosiers, and more precious seconds ticking away. Everyone on their feet here at Jerry Yeagley Field. Semla He's going to have to send it forward. This may be the final opportunity for Marshall. Just 2 shots on goal today for the Thundering Herd. Do they have a magical escape in them to continue their fantastic season? Or is Indiana victorious onto the quarterfinals? Oh, it's lost by Josef. Semla's off his line, but the smart play by Mahalik just to send it forward. Back to Semla. Is there anything left in the tank for the Thundering Herd?
I gotta hurry.
Okiyoshi. Oh, nearly turned it over. They are running out of time. You're right, Austin. Indiana pressing high. It's Bamford. Semla is being waved forward by Chris Grassi. The long ball, they're looking for Bell. It's too far and out of play, and that should do it. The clock has been stopped at 15 seconds, but a long goal kick by JT Harm should be enough to send Indiana back to the quarterfinals.
10, 9,
One last chance here for Marshall. Cleared by Sesak.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Revenge